You can see that I've pushed this opening a little bit up this way. I kind of felt that the strength of this branch would still carry this motion a little bit. And I don't want it to be the overriding feel of the painting. I just want to have a bit of that in there. Laid this tree in. You know, it's sort of a silhouette on the top, and then it begins to catch light near the base. It's sitting back a little bit from the outhouse. The outhouse is what's going to be a little more punchy. And I don't think I'm going to have really high values. I don't know yet, but I think my highest values, highest chroma combination will be sort of around the bottom of the outhouse and fading off. Like this tree, a little bit darker as we get up top. I don't know yet. This tree, however, I believe I'm going to catch quite a bit of light on the top, and will fade down in values as we get to the bottom, because we don't want the bottom of this painting to be too important. Also, okay, the camera's not picking this up right now, but below here, from here to the bottom, I have quite a bit of negative space, quite a bit of non-informative, contentless acreage down there, and I'm going to need to add something. I might just have a small evergreen or two poking their heads up, just, young seedlings, saplings, beginning to grow through the snow. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. Not going to worry about it. Right now I'm going to focus on this. The trunk on this tree, I used raw umber, cobalt blue, and titanium white. The top of this tree, I used burnt sienna, yellow ochre, what do you call that stuff? Boy, I'm losing it here. Ultramarine blue, and a bit of white in places. So we have sort of similar colors to what we're going to have here, but these will be much stronger. I've watered, I've thinned these colors off quite a bit. Not thin them off as in with thinner, thin them off as in mixing them in various combinations, so I'm not having that strong out of the tube look. But we have some activity here, we're going to have a lot of activity here, and I'd like to have quite a bit here. This foreground will join those three articles visually. That's the idea when it's done. Okay, now I'm using a little bit of cad yellow pale, and just a hint of burnt sienna, and actually a hint of yellow ochre to lean it into the greens a little bit. We have no cobalt blue in these yellows here because I didn't want it to go too green. I'd like these leaves in the foreground to be fairly punchy. Without getting too crazy. Now again, I'm laying what seems to be so much higher values here than there. And it is, but once this is painted, and I'm leaving this for the time being, this is what will subdue the brighter colors around it. That'll be the job for the outhouse. Aside, of course, from its usual job. Where are we? It's a pretty new, what is this, number 8? Yeah. It's a fairly new number 8 that I'm using. So this is not a poplar tree. This will be a poplar tree in the foreground. Or, aspen, some variety of that type. Um, just a hint more cobalt blue. I want to kill that yellow in places. You know, my highest chromas and values will be on these leaves. Those will be more subdued, just slightly. And as we go down, they're a little more subdued as well. Well, there's not much down below what I'm working on. The main stuff's already there now. So yeah, I think I mentioned this. Yeah, yellow ochre, cobalt blue, and just a touch of cad yellow pale is what I'm playing with at the moment. And yeah, I have these leaves all sitting in front. Nothing's sort of around the back side, which can be a faux pas, but as long as it's not glaringly obvious, I'm not going to worry too much about it. We have a group of 4. I don't want that to be quite so symmetrical. Okay, that'll do for now. I can go right into it later, right over top of these with a bit of cad yellow pale and white, and really make them pop, but we're not going to do that now, and that's okay. I don't have a whole lot of paint on there. Okay, let's just ignore the cad yellow pale for the moment. We'll just go yellow ochre and a bit of cobalt blue, and I'm even going to add just a hint of burnt sienna to that, so it doesn't get too cold. Just kind of making up my shapes as I go here. You know, I want them to appear to be leaf-like. Leaf-like in nature and character. if they're not an accurate, a completely accurate representation of leaves. They're little clusters. Finicky stuff, eh? Technique I'm using right now is very different than just sort of pat, 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 pat. I get just as much done. It's just, yeah, maybe it's a little slower. It's a little more precise. But I really like the outcome. I like the look. I like the look of this. Sometimes of this careful fiddling. Rolling the brush, turning the brush, applying various pressures. Actually, let's each leaf a slightly different shape, we hope. Yeah, let's cut right through this branch. I don't want this branch to be important at all. It's fine if we know it's there, but that's all we need to know. If it becomes a distraction and not useful to our localized composition, then it can go. Little shot of straight yellow ochre here. Okay. You know what? Here. We're just going to cut right into it. Without a care in the world. Okay, let's make you a leaf. And a little bit of a leaf there. We'll let a little bit of trunk show. Yeah, I think that's going to work just fine. I think that's going to work okay. You know, by the looks of things, I am going to be highlighting some spots, but again, later. Not at the moment. Give my brush a little wash here. A wash and a wipe. Not the kind of cleaning, not that my brush is clean now, I can leave it overnight kind of cleaning, but rather my brush is clean enough to resaturate it with slightly different colors. Not slightly, quite a bit different colors. Okay, let's go to our yellow ochre now, and a little bit of raw umber. And some white. No, not yellow ochre, raw umber. Cobalt blue and raw umber. And actually, I think that maybe what I should be doing instead of cobalt blue is using a bit of ultramarine blue. That cobalt blue goes very green. It's going to be used in the snow down below a little bit, so I don't want to get too carried away with that. I don't want it too blue because then we end up with a high chroma. Okay, I think that's going to work. We'll leave a few black spots or a few darker spots here and there down the trunk, as is the nature of a poplar. Now let's just cut in here a little bit because between those leaves that are going to pop, we don't want a lot of color. We don't want high value, sorry. If those leaves are going to pop, we don't want competition right next to them. That makes no sense. Light's coming from the right now. Now we're starting to define more where the light is coming from, right? You could see it really on the base of this trunk and the crown of this tree a little bit. Coming from the right, it's going to catch the face of this. It's starting to show up. As one of you guys out there said, the lights are going to start to come on now. Until now, it's just been ambient. Okay. More raw umber. More ultramarine blue. this stuff for the shady trunk colors. Designing the tree trunk as we paint it in. Okay. Now, I may want more light here, but I don't want it up top. I don't want high values running off the edge of the canvas. Not in this way. Those will be even darker. Yeah, okay. Let's put a little more light in this area now. Some raw umber. Still some dregs of ultramarine blue there, and white. Now we'll warm it up with a bit of raw umber. And go a little higher value. Okay, I don't want this to be too busy looking. Okay, that was good for that stroke. Now we're going to drop our value again a little bit as we get onto this branch. Run that right through like that. You know, you get onto a little tiny branch like what I'm doing right now, and I won't usually put on a light side and a dark side. I won't indicate light and dark areas on the branch because it's too thin and it's frankly not that important. If this was a tiny painting, you know, with a lot of detail, it'd be a different story, but that's not the case here. Okay. Now a little bit of highlighting over what I just put in. Oop. What is this? What is this going on here? The trunk isn't looking that poplarish, is it? It's more, has more the look of a beech maybe. You know, that smooth skin. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. The painting will not be entitled A Poplar Tree. Value's too high there. If I can afford to step that up a little bit, just a bit, raise that value going off, just a little bit, not a whole lot. And if there are things I want to change later, I can change them later. I don't worry about it now. Right now it looks okay as far as I'm concerned. I'll just run down the trunk. Try to remember to leave a few black spots here and there, especially as we get towards the bottom. But you can see where that's going. Let me just square the camera off with the canvas rather. Clickety-clack with the viewfinder, or the screen. So you can sort of see where things are sitting for the moment. Now this, of course, is drawing a lot of attention to itself now, you know? It's really jumping to the foreground. But as I mentioned, when we get some direct light on here, and more than likely some direct light, some shots of direct light on the snow here, it'll push this back, it'll push that back. Everything will get pushed back. It's a process. See you soon, guys.